everybody. Welcome to Busy Beeswax Creations. Today we are going to be using, I think, the last piece that you have. You either have a red piece of beeswax or a reddish brown piece. Either way, either one will be fine, okay? So grab your piece of beeswax and get ready by placing it, before we place it in the palm of our hand, we need to warm our hand because it's cool now, almost cold some days. We're at the end of autumn, which means that we're coming near to the beginning of winter. So the days are getting colder and colder, and this is a really good way to warm those beautiful hands of yours and those fingertips. Thumb, forefinger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, and back again. Run through your fingers, rub one more time, and place the beeswax into the palm of your hand and cover it over with your other palm and hold it nice and tight and warm. And we'll start our verse. From the bees, this gift of gold is here for us to warm and hold. Fragrant beeswax in our hand is full of goodness from the land. Okay, I want you to hold that in the palm of your hands for the whole duration of the book. You can put your hands into your lap to keep them warm, or you can also pop your beeswax under the arm where it's nice and warm as well. Okay, today you have a special story. But before I show you the story, I'm also going to attempt in this video to say every single one of your names. So listen out for your name, Serena, and see when you get to hear your name, Rosen, who just had a birthday. So we are going to hear a book from the series that we heard last term, which is the Serendipity series. And Jamaica, this is probably the most exciting of all the Serendipity books because this one is called Serendipity. Isn't that beautiful, Ariella? So Serendipity is the character that was the first of all the books, and then the author, whose name is Stephen Cosgrove, decided to make a whole series of books, and this was his first. And the illustrator is Robin James. So, Joan, are you ready? Let's begin. Serendipity. On an iceberg far south in the Antarctic sat an egg. It was no ordinary egg, for it was 4 feet wide and 8 feet tall and had a distinct pink shade to it. Nobody knew what it was. The penguins and seagulls that lived on the iceberg just assumed that it had been there for a long time. And it probably had. For years and years the egg sat there stuck in the ice. But then the iceberg began floating north. The days became warmer. Finally, the penguins and the seagulls all packed and went back to the Antarctic because they liked it cold. The egg was left alone on an iceberg that was slowly melting. Can you see that, Kaylin? Charlie? One day, a curious thing began to happen. The egg had sat for so many years in the ice that it began to twist and squirm, crickle and crackle, and finally hatch. There, standing on wobbly legs and blinking her eyes in the bright sunshine, was heaven knows what. She was big, pink, and scared. I guess for all practical purposes, you could call her a sea serpent, though she really wasn't at all. Can you see that picture, Cade? She stood there for a while just looking at everything there was to see. Suddenly, the iceberg rolled with a large wave and she slipped and slid right into the water. She began floundering about, trying desperately to stay afloat. But since she had just hatched, she didn't know how to swim. She was making so much racket with her splashing and thrashing that a big walrus swam over to see what all the commotion was about. "Who or what are you?" asked the walrus. "I don't know who or what I am," she cried, and with that she flipped herself upside down. She would have drowned right there had not the walrus held her afloat. As quickly as he could, the big walrus taught her how to swim. And there she is sliding into the iceberg, Soraya. "Well," said the walrus, "now that you've calmed down a bit, let's see if we can figure out just who you are." He swam slowly around her, for she was growing even as he was talking. You're too big to be a tuna and too small to be a whale. You have no feathers, so you can't be a bird. I just don't know what you are." She began to cry and cry. "I must be somebody. Why, I don't even have a name." "I may not be able to figure out who or what you are, but I surely can give you a name," said the walrus. "From now on, you shall be called, Serendipity. And as you cannot stay here all alone, you will come with me, for I am on my way to the island of Capri, where all the fishes of all the world are to meet. Possibly they can decide what you are and what you are to do." And there they are together. See that cane? Since Serendipity had nowhere else to go, she set out with the walrus for the island of Capri. They swam and swam into the warmer waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Every day, Serendipity grew just a little bigger, until the walrus was constantly swimming in her shadow. One day, as they were hurrying on their way, they heard cries for help just over the horizon. The two of them quickly swam to investigate. There they are, as she grows each day. Can you see that, Orson? She's bigger. There, right before them, was an aging dolphin trapped in a floating net. "How did you get caught in that net?" asked Serendipity. "I was swimming to the island of Capri," said the dolphin, "when a fisherman threw this net upon me. Now he has gone for help to load me into his boat." Serendipity turned to the walrus. "Should we try to help the old dolphin, or should we hurry on our way?" "Always help where you can, Serendipity," said the walrus. "And as your name suggests, you will always find valuable things you are not looking for." And there is the dolphin, the old dolphin caught in the net. Can you see that, Michael? Serendipity agreed, and she and the walrus set about trying to free the dolphin. But while they were busy at their task, the fisherman and his friend came back to their net. "What are you doing there?" shouted the fisherman. "Get away from my net!" And with that he started to throw a large harpoon at the walrus, who was cutting the net with his tusks. Without thinking of her own safety, Serendipity swam over to the boat. With a mighty heave, she flipped it over, throwing the fisherman into the water. The fisherman was spluttering in the water, so Serendipity very carefully lifted them up and dropped them on the overturned boat, where they hung on for dear life. In the meantime, the walrus had freed the old dolphin, and the three of them swam away very quickly. And there she is, helping to free the dolphin. Can you see Freya? "I'm indebted to you," said the dolphin as they rested for a moment, "for saving me from the fishermen." The dolphin looked at Serendipity for a moment and said, "I know the walrus, for he is a cousin of mine, but the likes of you I've never seen." "I don't know who or what I am," she said, "but the walrus is taking me to the island of Capri, where all the fishes of the world are meeting. They will decide what I should do." "I too am on my way to Capri," said the dolphin, "but we must hurry, for we have a long journey and very little time." So once again, Serendipity, the walrus, and now the dolphin set out for the island of Capri. Rowan, there they are, swimming along together. They had swum for over 2 days when suddenly the water began to turn dirty and brown. Paper cups and bottles bobbed in the sea around them. The farther they swam, the more garbage there seemed to be, and the oil floated freely on the top of the water. "What is all this?" asked Serendipity. "Unfortunately," said the dolphin, "we must swim close to the land on our journey, and the land dwellers throw garbage into the sea." By this time they were unable to move at all because of all the garbage and junk floating on the water. "Would it not be wise to dive low and swim away from all this?" asked Serendipity. She looked a little silly, for she had a banana stuck on her nose. "No," said the walrus, "running away won't help the water or the fish that swim in it." And there we have it. See that picture, Bowden, with the banana skin on Serendipity's nose? Serendipity over the past few days had grown bigger and bigger, till now she towered over the walrus and the dolphin. Because she was so big, she had more garbage and oil on her than the other two put together. To rid herself of all that dirt and grime, she began bobbing up and down in the water. By doing so, she created large waves that rolled onto the shore. Finally, as she took one last dunk, she made such a large wave that it carried all the oil, all the garbage, and all that junk, and threw it right up on the shore and on top of the land dwellers, who had thrown it into the sea to begin with. There she is, bobbing around making big waves, Violet, trying to get all the muck off her. The dolphin and the walrus laughed and cheered to see all that garbage leave the sea. "Oh, Serendipity," chuckled the walrus, "I'm sure the land dwellers will think very hard before they throw garbage into the sea again." With the way clear before them, the walrus, the dolphin, and a proud Serendipity once again set off for the island of Capri. Mino, they are swimming off, and the sunset is in front of them. After a long and tiring journey, they finally arrived at the island of Capri. There they found all the fishes of all the world. It was quite a sight to see. There were giant whales, tiny shrimp, chunky tunas, and slippery salmon, just to name a few. "We must leave you now," said the walrus and the dolphin, "for we have much to do. And with that, they swam away from Serendipity into the milling crowds of fish. Wow. Archie, look at all those fish and sea creatures. Well, thought Serendipity, I am never going to find out who or what I am by staying here. I must move to the front and ask the leaders of the fishes. She bumped and pushed her way to the front, and there, to her surprise, was the big walrus and the old dolphin. What are you doing here? She asked. We are the leaders of all the fishes, they answered. But why hadn't you told me before? I have come all this way only to find that you were the ones who would tell me who or what I am, she cried. Serendipity, said the dolphin. We encountered many dangers on our trip here, and you overcame them all. In doing so, you have discovered that you are brave and kind, and that is what you are. As to who you are, said the walrus, you are Serendipity, and like your name, you always gain riches that you did not seek. That is all well and good, said Serendipity, but now that I know who and what I am, what am I to do? As you are now the largest of all the fishes of all the world, said the walrus and the dolphin, we hereby proclaim that you shall be the guardian of all the seas. It shall be your duty to protect the waters of the world from the land dwellers and make sure that the oceans stay clear and blue. If you ever throw your garbage in the ocean, lake or sea, you'd better start to rowing, for there will be serendipity. And that is the end of our book, Matilda. I bet you can all guess what we are making today. Marley, if I could hear you right now, would you be saying serendipity? Because Marley would be right. Charlotte, is that what you were thinking? I bet you were. Now, we did use the pink last week, and I apologise for that. So we're left with the red, or the reddish brown. But it doesn't matter, because we can still make a beautiful serendipity. She can be any colour we want. So Grace, have you got your nice beautiful bit of warmed beeswax and rolling that into a ball, as we always do when we start? And then with your ball, we start to form the shape of serendipity. Shall I show you the shape? Here she is. So she's kind of like a dragon with her head and her little spikes going down her neck and over her body and down her tail. She's kind of got a whale tail and a body like maybe a dragon. And we're going to do her so that she can sit upon the water and bob along it. So, with your big ball, start to bring it out like this. Can you see that, Amity? We're making like an oval shape. And we're going to keep that hump in the middle. And we're going to start drawing out the beeswax either side, because we want to bring a neck up one side and tail out the other, okay? So start to draw it out like this and keep the roundness of your body. I'll show you the picture again. And Leo, as you draw that head up from the neck, keep the neck nice and fat, and then the head is going to come off that neck with a nice pointy little, well, not too pointy, but she's got like a seahorse snout. Oh, see, horses have their nose comes thin and then it kind of is flattened at the end. Doesn't come to a point, but to like a flat bit. And then you've got your tail coming out. Elvis, how's yours going? Have you kept your nice round body in this process? And the tail comes up from the body. And around, and make sure you give it enough room at the end to start to fan out that end to make your whale tail. I'm starting to get the shape. How are you going there, Alia? I bet you're doing beautifully. I think I've said every single one of your names. Shall we go back to the beginning? Shall we randomly say some names? How are you all going? So have the tail come up and around like that. My beeswax is getting a bit hard already. I don't know about yours. And make sure she's got a flat bottom, so I'm going to push on the bottom a little bit. Keep my big body. Can make that tail much more whale-like. And giving it a little point at the end too. Like that. Starting to come together. My Serendipity, my beeswax is getting very hard now. How about yours, Cam? Cam. I'm so sorry. There you are. Cam and Blythe. Have you got a magical little Serendipity there? You know what's after all this? Do you know what it is, Blythe? The little spiky kind of fin-like things that come off her. But I'm going to make mine, I'm going to pinch them out so they're round and then start to give them a bit of a spike. Like that. Pinch them out round and then spike them. And that way, it's much more like her. This is really difficult as my beeswax gets harder and harder. I am getting there, but she's a little bit messy. Dearie me, I hope yours is turning out better than my one. How's yours going? I don't think I'm going to have time to go through all of your names again, but I hope that you enjoyed this beeswax lesson. Please take your time. I am thinking that I might put mine into a warm bowl of water to bring it some so it's softer again, so I can work on it again, because my fingers are a bit cool. I don't know what yours are like. Please, can I see the results of your beautiful Serendipity? Get an adult around you to take a photo and please post it to me so I can see. I know you all make beautiful creations all the time. I can't wait to see these ones, and I look forward to seeing you at school very soon. Have a beautiful day, class 1. I'll finish with recorder.